Hey gang, this is Harry. How you doing? I just wanted to produce this file for the Macedonian Call, just in case you don't want to read the whole thing. So, um, first you should read Acts chapter 15, verse 36, starting there, to Acts 16, verse 10. This will cover the Macedonian Call. And, if you put me on pause, I promise I won't go away. Scout's honor, whatever. Um, so, put me on pause, and after you read that, reactivate, or whatever. Okay, we're back. Okay, that's. I had to do this assignment for the life of Paul in the context of first century Rome. And there was a portion that I wanted to develop into a Sunday school lesson. So first, we start in chapter 15, verse 36. With Paul, he wants to go reaffirm the churches that he had established on the first missionary journey. And I'm going to take my headphones out. This is an echo. So what happens now is Paul and Barnabas split up. There's a debate. Well, actually, there's an argument, not a debate, whether or not to bring John Mark again. You remember John Mark left the door in the first missionary journey. So now Paul and Barnabas have this argument, and it's decided that Paul will leave with Silas, and Barnabas will take Mark to Cyprus. Cyprus being Barnabas' home. And it's there for probably a little while, where I guess Mark maybe gets him growing up. And in a later message where tradition states that Mark joined Peter in Rome around 51, and that probably gives a date to when the Gospel of Mark was written. But we'll save that for another lesson. Now, I just wanted to refer to a couple of questions. If you're thinking about a Macedonian call, do you think God is going to work in your life to send you to a missionary field? You might wonder, will God give me a Macedonian call? I think it's important to understand the circumstances around Paul's Macedonian call. Alright, now there's a few questions here. Do you feel that at some time you'll receive this Macedonian call? That's the first question. Have you received a call, or do you feel that things are going too slow? And do you see God moving in your life? Now, one of the things is, if you see where God moves in Paul's life to get him ready for his Macedonian call, nothing happens by accident. So when Barnabas leaves and Silas joins it, it's, probably God's design. Or I should say it is God's design. And as they go to, let's see, I want to grab the right city. In Acts 16. Okay, they're in Lystra, and there they met Timothy. Now Timothy will be the mentor of Paul, or not the mentor, but the protege of Paul, where he's going to take up the torch into the second century, or at least in the second half of the first century. And then we see Luke coming into the picture in Troas. But in the meantime, Paul wants to go to Asia to, bring the gospel to Asia. This could be northern Asia. This could be, or I should say northern Galatia, or thereabouts. I'm not exactly sure, but the Holy Spirit or the Spirit of God stops him. So he travels on to Mysia, and he wants to go into, oh, let me check out the time, I'm sorry. Bithynia. I'm sorry, I'm reading this at the same time, so this, Spirit of Jesus stops him. So, Paul has the right desire. He wants to go witness somewhere, and he wants to bring the gospel to this region, but it's not happening. So now comes Luke. He comes into the picture, and then Paul gets the Macedonian call. God strategically moved. It's like chess. Your object is to capture the king, put him into checkmate, if you understand. So what you do, or what God did, was carefully move to pieces until Paul was ready to receive the Macedonian call. It was something probably of greater impact. People think, well, maybe I should go there, but God wants them to go somewhere else. And the reason being, it could be of greater impact, what God has planned. As we move along to go to Philippi, Thessalonica, Athens, and then finally to Corinth, where Paul meets up with future friends, Priscilla and Aquila. They're mentioned in Romans and other passages, and they turn out to be important companions to Paul. And Timothy, Barnabas, I don't know how old Barnabas was, but Timothy was younger. He was probably, I don't know, I think I've heard some estimates that he was late teens. And, he was already a good report, you see, verse 1 and 2 of chapter 16. So, God puts Timothy in his life to train him. So, I think the one thing, if you're desiring a Macedonian call, or feel you're expecting it, is that God will first do things in your life to get you ready for it. It could be friends for support, could be even a spouse if you're not married. So, I just want to say, always be careful of what God does in your life. And, He's not going to hit you right upside the head with a Macedonian call. I don't think it worked that way. I think you have to understand what's working in your life. Paul had the desire to go and spread the gospel in certain regions, and God just sort of moved him into one direction that he wanted him to go. So God had his own timetable too. So he had all the pieces into place. Like I say, in the chest, he put all the pieces into place where the Macedonian call was given. And, because of this Macedonian call, the gospel was able to go into parts of Europe, and, it was of great effect. Paul was successful. We know that it was good. Despite the turmoil, despite persecution, Paul had great success. And I just wanted to bring that out. Hopefully you'll glance over the message, over the main point at least. And as far as the Macedonian call, we don't get visions today as one would think. But I think if you're sensitive enough, your call will be, just like Paul, very apparent. It won't be a mystery to you. It'll be very apparent. You'll understand and recognize the call, and you're ready. And I think one of the things for that call is you need to be listening to God, listening to what He does in your life. So hopefully this helps you. I'm going to sign off now, so I got to work on other stuff. So thanks for listening. God bless.